man. Detroit versus everybody, man. Detroit, we rep the hardest, man. We gain the hardest. You know what it is, man. Detroit, CJ, holla at your boy when we get home.
All right, the New Orleans Pelicans are blaming the NBA officiating for Zion's injury. Also, we're going to talk about Jimmy Butler cussing out Cat. But first, let's talk about the Lakers. They get the smack of down late on their Rudy Poo last night by the Trailblazers. It was kind of a must-win game for them to not kind of get in the play-in tournament. But let's get to it. Let's talk about it. Appreciate the love, support. Check out the NBA Talk playlist. And but the shining light on that for them is the Portland Trailblazers are known not to close deals, okay, and they got the harder schedule left. All right, we can pull up their games and see what they got left. They got Spurs who fighting for the play-in spot. You got the Rockets, you got the Jazz, you got the 1 and 2 seed in the West, the Jazz and the Suns, and they end up with the Nuggets. So they end up with 3 top 5 seeds to end the season. Spurs, they're pretty good. They kind of think they're on the outside looking in. They're in the 10th spot, so I think they got to get in the 9th spot or something. Maybe they already in for the play-in game. And really for Portland, then you look at LA. They played the Knicks, which the Knicks, then they blew a lead versus Suns. Well, they played the Suns, which they came back and beat the Knicks last night. They played the Knicks, who came back and lost to the Suns last night, who had the lead in the halftime, The Rockets, the Pacers, the Pelicans. So, to be honest, I think they need Schroeder. He won't be back till next week. And depending on how his rhythm and his wind is, really they could lose these 2 games, but they got to win the next 3, in my opinion. And for Portland, I could see them losing to San Antonio. I could see them losing to the last 3, Jazz, Suns, and Nuggets. So, Lakers just got to keep winning. They can lose a couple, but it all depends on the Trailblazers. Damian Lillard was so hot for the season. When CJ McCollum came back, he cooled off a bit. But honestly, the Lakers, everybody should be trying to get their best shots to beat the Lakers. Because LeBron come back, healthy, somehow 100% healthy, he a problem. Think about it. For the Utah and the Suns, they probably got to see LeBron. You're not worried about you're not worried about the Grizzlies, the Spurs, the Pelicans, possibly the Warriors. You're not worried about the Trailblazers. You're worried about the Lakers. So, honestly, the Lakers would beat anybody in the playoff series. It could be a good thing. They can find a rhythm, get their camaraderie together. Drummond ain't really played with them yet. Schroeder and, then we're starting to Schroeder and AD and LeBron was trying to build some chemistry. We already know the Morris kid and KCP got some chemistry. So, really, it could be a positive thing. I think they get out, they win a play-in if they in there. It could be a positive thing. The reason why I say it could be a positive because camaraderie. They can gel together. Got a lot of players that need to gel. And ultimately, the Lakers got a great chance still. But if there were fans involved, I'd be more concerned. Full capacity fans, no matter where you at. The traveling is going to be a little bit tougher than living in a bubble. The traveling is going to be tough, most definitely. But the fans, if there's fans, the Lakers be in a lot of trouble. Push the Suns to Game 7. They ain't never been this high in the rankings. Think about it for a minute. The Suns, number 1 seed, 2 seed right now. Yeah, imagine going there playing the Game 7. Never been, come on. So the fans is really gonna change. Really will change the playoff. But, without full capacity, nothing to worry about. No matter what your seed is, just like the bubble. The fans and the atmosphere make it, serious. That's why the NBA is kind of even went even farther down the drain because ain't no fans. And the atmosphere ain't there. You play 2K, they kind of put that playoff atmosphere in. Like the last few years I was playing it, but it is what it is, man. So wish them nothing but the best of luck, Lakers. I used to like the Lakers when Kobe was doing this thing. Couldn't stand them when they had Shaq, but I always liked them because of Magic and Kobe. Love Kobe. But let's start off with Zion Williamson. All right, New Orleans Pelicans power forward. Zion is out indefinitely. We already talked about this yesterday. He had a CAT scan on his left hand. So they pretty much blamed it here. I believe he's probably suffered an injury over a period of time. Griffin said he's the GM that David Griffin came from Cavaliers and for the Pelicans. He was being beat over the hand over and over again. For me to tell you one time, I don't think I could do that. I don't think he knows one time. So, he went on. I'm really frustrated. It's not Zion, it's David Griffin. I'm really frustrated because this was avoidable. We told the NBA through every means available to us, though sending film, through speaking to everybody in the official department, everybody in basketball operations, that's the way they were officiating. Zion was going to get him injured, Griffin said, and quite frankly, he's injured because of the open season that there's been on Zion Williamson in the paint. He has been absolutely mauled in the paint on a regular basis to the point that other players have said to him, I'm going to keep doing this to you because they don't call it. There's more violence encouraged in the paint than any player. There's more violence encouraged in the paint more than any player I've seen since Shaquille O'Neal. I thought he said something else. It was egregious and horrific then. The same is true now. So, and they said they went on Internet Friday. Williams was second to Giannis in total free throw attempts behind only Giannis, Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, and Trae Young in free throw attempts. So he been getting to the free throw line, and obviously Zion ain't making these excuses. David Griffin trying to protect this guy. Kendrick Perkins said he was crying and pushing the wrong narrative to Zion, but I was watching All the Smoke with Shaq. Great interview, right? And Shaq was saying that Dennis Scott, the one to be on NBA TV, 3-point specialist, probably would have got a $100 million contract today. He was saying that he told Shaq that he need to start complaining. This your team, you need to start complaining to, get your way. And ultimately, Shaq started using his power in Orlando, eventually with the officials to get his way. So, Zion don't know no better. Zion don't know to do that. He's not that type of guy, but you got to learn. You got to learn it to how can I say it, to really press your power. And, but he's not going to cry. He don't even cry to officials for the most part. And, when you're that big, that athletic, that gifted, you shouldn't. But the free throws per game, excuse me. Joel 11.1, Giannis 9.7, Trae Young 8.8, and Giannis 8.7 a game. Jimmy Butler 8. So he be in a lot of free throw. He be in a lot of free throw attempts for real. So so really ain't no point to complain, honestly, man. But he got injured because he got injured. Sometimes you got to strengthen them hands. The grip is the most important thing when you're talking about lifting. But he just got to get stronger in his hands, and he just got to stop getting injury prone. Most of the times that's just genetic. Injury prone, genetic. So hopefully he figure it out. Hopefully he get healthy. And hopefully, he started making impact where they start winning games. But for the Pelicans, they're going to start cleaning the house, obviously. When I'm talking about cleaning the house, they're going to try to get away. You have to start probably get away Brandon Ingram, Lonzo. And start building around, or one of them, Lonzo or Brandon Ingram, building around Zion. Until they build around, till they get players around Zion. Really with Zion, they need somebody that can get them, that can make the game easier, like Lonzo. And probably somebody else that can get their own bucket, which Brandon Ingram can, but he need the ball. That's a sticky situation, bro, because it seems like they got everybody that they need to be successful. You got Zion, you got Lonzo, you got Ingram, a lot of other people over there. But really, you probably say Lonzo. Probably you say Ingram if he become a point forward. Put a guy like Josh Hart, maybe hopefully he could develop to a Derek Fisher. Zion get his own bucket. You know what I'm saying? Probably rush shooters around him, and then maybe somebody get their own bucket off the bench. That's a sticky situation in New Orleans because a lot of those guys need the ball in their hand, and probably getting Zion to cut and kind of move it out the ball. Probably keep Ingram or Lonzo. Probably let's say Lonzo. You can get Zion Ingram easy buckets or Ingram. Yeah, that's a tough situation. It's a tough coaching job right there simply because it's just they young. It's hard to get them to mature their game. But the crime, David Griffin supposed to do that. So now he could be number one. He could be number one in free throw attempts, man. So it is what it is, man. People gonna complain. Zion ain't one to complain. Sometimes you gotta protect your player from the self. But let's move on. Let's end up talking about the Heat and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I didn't even see who won that game last night. Let's see who won that game before we get talking on, how Jimmy Butler did Karl Anthony Towns. So yeah, the Heat won 121-112. So Jimmy Butler went on to say Jimmy Butler told Karl Anthony Towns, "You soft as a baby-ish. You a loser. I already punked you once." He said it, and they kind of got it. The audio, if you look hard enough, the audio is out there. So he really much obliterated. He pretty much obliterated Karl Anthony Towns. We already know he punked him in the gym and said he was soft. And one of the reasons Jimmy Butler didn't left Minnesota and also left Philly because the young guys, they weren't working hard enough. Simple as that. Those guys wasn't working hard enough. They didn't want it enough. And now Miami, they kind of having those similar issues. Obviously Tyler Hero, he kind of enjoyed his little newfound fame. So you can keep going on about what's going on. These young guys don't, they're not mature enough. And Jimmy Butler got to understand, these dudes, first round picks, high picks, they got a swagger about themselves now. These young guys don't have to prove nothing. There's no more veterans. Jimmy Butler's like one of the few veterans that left that's really gonna hold the camera. They're gonna listen. Obviously LeBron, guys like that. And when they boil down to Minnesota and Philadelphia, it didn't work. But Karl Anthony Towns was jawing back, but he really couldn't say nothing. That's sad because most people look at Karl as one of the softest big men in the league, if not the softest, him and Anthony Davis. And that's unfortunate, man, because he got all the talent. It'd be unfair if he had a mean streak and a dominant streak like Shaq. Could you imagine Karl Anthony Towns, could y'all imagine Karl Anthony Towns with the mean streak that Kobe or Shaq had? Could you imagine that? The Minnesota Timberwolves would be in the playoffs. Same thing with Andrew Wiggins. What if his heart didn't pump pink Kool-Aid? We'd be talking about something entirely different, man. So, ultimately, it is what it is. And really nothing Karl could say. But Jimmy is one of the toughest dudes in the league. Throwback dude, and let me know what you guys think. But hey, don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out anytime. You got a business question, inquiry, response, your video request. All our social media links in the description. You can reach out anytime. Appreciate the love and support. Even if I have touched business on the channel. Also, our Facebook group link there as well too. Want to make a financial donation? Cash App CJ Good 313. That's in the description. PayPal link there as well too. Appreciate the love and support. One time for the one time. Goodfellas Sports TV. Check out the NBA Talk playlist. Peace.